Well, it is a lovely day out here, so I thought I'd record this outside. Wait, I'll show you the sky. Hold on. Alright, back to what I was going to be saying. I have a very big project that is due at the end of this month, and I'm very excited to share it with all of you, but I do need to put more time into that, so this week's video is going to be a little bit shorter than normal, but I hope it will be very helpful to you. I'll be showing you how I make the little animated illustrations I've been putting at the end of my videos. I'll put some of them here as an example. But they're really fun to make and actually really easy, and I've really enjoyed making them, so I hope that this will inspire you to make some of your own, bring some of your own characters and illustrations to life, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Back to the other thing. I use Procreate to make pretty much all my digital art, so we'll start there by making an empty square-shaped canvas. Next, we'll start by making the sketch of our illustration. Using the technical pencil, I begin sketching out what I want my mermaid to look like, thinking about the different shapes and trying to keep a very, at least somewhat simple silhouette. During this early stage, you'll also want to make the decision about what you want to be moving. For these animated illustrations, I don't make the whole thing move. I usually pick one or two elements to be the main focus. In this case, it's going to be her hair and her tail. On a separate layer, go over the sketch and make your final inked lines. Moving on to coloring the picture, first we'll want to add a solid color underneath the line art layer. I clean up anything that goes outside so that it can be a solid shape. This video won't be a full digital painting tutorial, but let me know if you'd like something like that in the future. The important part for this is that you alpha lock the base color shape, and I work in one layer and just paint straight on top of that. It's kind of relaxing to do things this way. Most of the time I work in many layers, but this one I just kind of threw together, and her colors were a little bit muddy at first, but I ended up being happy with the result. Something I do to add a little more dynamicness to my paintings is I'll add 2 clipping mask layers to the colored layer, one for some light and one for some shadow. Here I am just fiddling around with the opacity and the coloring for the lighting. Again, let me know if you'd be interested in a little more instruction for how to do this. I would love to be helpful if I can. Once you're finished with all of the painting and the lighting, you want to merge those together so that you only have 2 layers, one with the line art and one with the colors. Now we are all ready to start the magical part of this process. Go to the settings option at the top of the screen and go to Canvas and turn on Animation Assist. This will bring up a little bar at the bottom of the screen, and each layer is a page in this flip animation. For now, we will hide the color layer and duplicate the line art layer one time. With the second line art layer selected, we'll go up to Adjustments and click Liquify. Now working in small sections, we'll use our Liquify tool to ever so slightly move this second line art layer a little to the side of where the first one is, but only in the places where we are wanting things to move. So I'm trying not to touch the main part of her tail or her arms, only working on the fins and the hair. It's important to adjust the size of your brush if needed, so that you can really avoid touching things that you don't want to move, or else it will cause problems down the line, as you will find out a little bit later. Once you've made your adjustments to layer 2, you'll duplicate that layer and repeat the process on layer 3 and so on for a few more layers. I usually do about 4, and that's been just enough to give a little bit more smoother movement. Once you have these layers there, we can do a little test to see how it looks when it moves. Go to Settings and click Loop and lower the frames per second to about 4 or 5. Now we can click play and get a little taste about how this movement will look. I wanted this to be very subtle, like she was just slightly floating in the water, so there's not much dramatic movement. I've never tried making a proper animation before, but I would love to try it sometime because it's so exciting to see even just a little bit of movement in one of my pictures. I can't imagine seeing it actually walking or swimming. Now comes the fun part where we actually get to start seeing the colors move. I lost the footage to show you, but what you'll do is duplicate your color layer for each line art layer. Then you will hide the extra layers and work with one line art and one color layer. We will be doing essentially what we did with the line art layer with the color, using the liquify tool to move the color around so that it fills the new shape. Once the color layers have all been adjusted to match their connected line layer, you will merge those together so you will have a couple different completed illustrations. Here we can do another test to see how it looks when it moves. I forgot to mention, but when you are doing the previous color shifting step, you'll need to turn off the animation assist and turn it back on to test the movement. Now I'm going to show you the key to making your animation smooth in only a few frames. You'll see that I have 4 main frames here at the bottom. We will first duplicate frame 3 and move that to be after frame 4. Then duplicate frame 2 and move that duplicate to the end. I highly recommend that you name your layers because this can get confusing very fast because they look so similar. Now we can do another little test, and you'll see that this is much more fluid than the previous version before we had duplicated those other layers. Something I did also notice was that I had made a mistake in the coloring to line art merging, but I'm kind of glad I did because now I can show you how I fixed it. While using the liquify tool on one of the color layers, I had accidentally used too large of a size of brush, and it had moved the color of her eye along with her hair. To figure out which one was the problem, I took turns hiding a layer and then opening others until I could see which one had the error. Once the color and line art layers have been merged, you cannot separate them, so you have to go just back on top and color in over the colors that have been moved and redraw any lines that get lost in the process. I actually lost the footage for this part too, but it's not a very difficult thing to fix, and while it doesn't look perfect, it looks significantly better than having a random stretchy iris. Now that that's been fixed, we can go ahead and export our GIF. First, make sure that you turn off the background so that we don't have this white square behind our animation. At the top bar, click Settings and click on Share. Then under Share Layers, you'll click Animated GIF. This will bring up this screen, and if you would like, you can adjust the frames per second here, but they should already be set. Now all that's left to do is click Export, and once that finishes, you can click Save Image and it will go straight to your camera roll. From there, I just airdrop it to my laptop, and it is ready to use in my videos. Voila! There she is! I also forgot to mention this, but I added a slight up and down motion so it looks like she's properly floating in the water. Now she's ready to go see the scenery, look at some mushrooms, enjoy the freedom of movement, or be eaten by my cat. I hope that this video was helpful to you as you're trying to make your own characters come to life. Like I said before, I have a very big project coming up that I'm really excited to show you. I don't know if it'll be ready for next week, but it will be out soon-ish, and I'm really excited to share it with you. As always, I hope that you truly have a very wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.